0.25r minus 1.25 equals 0.55 minus 0.35r. So I'm going to do the same way we did in class. I'm looking at all the numbers, the coefficients and the constants, and I'm looking at their decimal places. Everybody has 2 decimal places. I'll write a little 2 here. 2 decimal places means that I'm going to multiply everybody by 100. And if I multiply everybody by 100, I'm going to get them not to be decimals anymore. They're going to be nice integers. So over here, multiply this guy by 100, multiply this guy by 100, multiply this guy by 100, multiply this guy by 100. So 100 times 0.25 is 25r. This is going to be 125. This is going to be 55. And this is going to be 35r. No more decimals. I think life gets a little easier. Okay, so now let's start from this top. Do I have distributive property? No. Can I combine like terms on the left or the right? No. Do I have variables on both sides? Yes. So either you get rid of the 25r or the negative 35r. So we already discussed in class. For us, we choose the smaller coefficient. So negative 35r plus 35r, and I'm going to do plus 35r. These two go away. Left was 55. 25 and 35 gives me 60r minus 125. From here on, if you want to do this, again, I keep saying, here's my letter, variable, multiplied by 60 minus 125 is 55. The 2 inverse operations I'm going to use is plus 125 and then divide by 60, and that should give me r isolated. So, line in the middle, plus 125 plus 125. That's 180. These two go away because they're additive inverse. They equal to 0. 60r comes down. Divide by 60 now. Divide by 60. This becomes r. And 180 divided by 60 is just 3. Now I get to do the check. Oh, for the love of God, please tell me I stole a calculator. Yes, I did. All right, so wherever I see the r, I'm going to replace it with a 3. So 0.25 times 3 minus 1.25. Equals 0.55 minus 0.35 times 3. So if I do this, and I don't think I need a calculator, I get 0.75 minus 1.25. Let me just do the left side. And if you do that, I get negative 0.50. On the right side, 0.55. Let me do this multiplication here. 35. It's going to give me 1.05. And if I do 0.55 minus 1.05, I'm going to get negative 0.50. So my solution is good. My check is good. Let's move on to 36. 0.3x plus 4.2 equals 0.1x plus 4. Okay, so these are easy. First of all, let's look at the decimal place values. Each coefficient and constant has 1 decimal place. Oh, except for this guy, except for the 4. So the first thing, so there's 1 decimal place, right? So let me write decimal place. So the numbers have 1 decimal place. And if they have 1 decimal place, what am I going to multiply both sides by? Multiply everybody by 10. And that's what we're going to do. But before we do that, right? And again, this is a step that you can skip. You don't have to, but we did it in class. So I'm going to make sure everybody has 1 decimal place. This 0.1x, and then that 4, I'm going to add a decimal, and here's your decimal place. Now I'm multiplying everybody by 10. So this guy times 10, this guy times 10, this guy times 10, this guy times 10. Multiplying by 10 is the same thing as moving the decimal 1 to the right, so that just becomes 3x. 4.2, move the decimal 1 over, it becomes 42. 0.1, move the decimal 1 over, becomes 1x. And then 10 times 4 move the decimal 1 over, it becomes 40. Okay, so again, now we are ready to go through our process. Distributive property, no. Combine like terms, no. Variables on both sides, yes. So let's get rid of the smaller guy, which in this case is 1x. So minus 1x here, minus 1x here. So we get 2x plus 42. These two go away, equals 40. Minus 42 on both sides. That goes away. 2x equals negative 2. Divide this side by 2. Divide this by 2. X equals negative 1. Okay, so I did I did this one a little faster at the bottom. So x equals negative 1. Let's substitute. So 0.3 times negative 1 plus 4.2 equals 0.1 times negative 1 plus 4. So notice that in these two locations here, I substituted x with negative 1. So put down your calculator. 0.3 times 1 is negative 0.3 plus 4.2. On this side, 0.1 times negative 1 is just negative 0.1 plus 4. Negative 0.3 plus 4.2 is going to give me positive 3.9. And negative 0.1 plus 4 is going to give me positive 3.9 as well. Yeah, we're good. We're 2 for 2. 38. 4.72n minus 0.1 equals 8 plus 0.67n. Okay, look at the, we're going to look at the decimal places of all the constants and coefficients. So 4.72 has 2 decimal places. So we need to rewrite the equation so that everybody has 2 decimal places. So as far as decimal places, the number that has the most decimal places is 4.72, so that's 2 decimal places. And if it has 2 decimal places, we're going to multiply everybody by 100, right? Now let's rewrite this equation so that everybody has 2 decimal places. So 4.72 is okay. Minus 0.10, so we add the 0, equals 8.00. Now it has 2 decimal places. And then plus 0.67. Now, we multiply everybody times 100, times 100, times 100, times 100, times 100. You can use a calculator, or we take the shortcut and move the decimal 2 over to the right. So this becomes 472n. This is going to become 10. This is going to be 800. And this is going to be 67n. Oh, okay. Go through the process, distribute it properly, no. Combine like terms on either side, also a no. There are variables on both sides, yes there is. Which is a smaller one? Well, this one's a big one, so minus 67 here. Minus 67n, sorry, I forgot to write the n. These go away. 800 comes down, that's minus 10, and 472 minus 67 is 405 n. We can do that little guide that we do. Variables n is being multiplied by 405. Subtract 10 gives me 800. The inverse operation is minus 10 is plus 10, and then the inverse of multiply by 405 is divide by 405. Okay. Plus 10, plus 10. These two go away. 800 plus 10 is 810, and this is 405. Divide both sides, and divide both sides by 405. And 405 divided by 405 is just n. 810 divided by 405 is 1. So my answer is 1. Let me do a quick check here. So wherever I see n, I'm going to multiply by 1 equals 8 plus 0.67 times 1. So 472 times 1 is just 472. And then you're going to subtract 0.1. On the other side is 8 plus, sorry, not n equals 1. Oh, somebody should have stopped me. N equals 2. Apologies. So n equals 2. I gotta cut that. Let me write this again. So it's 4.72 times 2 minus 0.1 equals 8 plus 0.67 times 2. Okay. 472 times 2 is, I have no idea, it's going to be 944.44 minus 0.1, and 8 plus 0.67 times 2 is 134. So $8 on the right side plus $1.34 is $9.34. On the left side, $9.44 minus 10 cents, it's $9.34. My solution is good, my check is good. 40. Oh, all the excitement here. 0.1 m plus 0.008 equals 0.06 m minus 0.172. Okay, so now we look for the number, coefficient, or constant with the most decimal places. And that is, well, either this one or this one. It has 3 decimal places. So the highest number of decimal places is 3. And if it's 3, we can multiply it by 1,000 to turn it into a nice whole number. So before we do that, I want to rewrite my equation so that every coefficient and every constant has 3 decimal places. So 0.100 plus 0.008 equals 0.060 m. Oh, I forgot the m here. And then minus 0.172. So if you look at all the coefficients and all the constants, all of them has 3 decimal places. It just makes things easier when I multiply by 1,000. So I'm going to take everybody, multiply by 1,000, multiply by 1,000, multiply by 1,000, multiply by 1,000. Multiply by 1,000, the shortcut is to move the decimal 3 spaces to the right. So 0.100 becomes 100 because you move 1, 2, 3, and the decimal ends up being over there. Plus, again, if you move the decimal 3 spaces to the right, that just becomes 8. Sorry, I forgot the m. Equals, and then again, if you move this decimal 3 units to the right, it becomes 60m. Minus, move the decimal 3 units to the right, becomes minus 172. That's your equation. Go through the process. Distributed property, no. Combined like terms, no. Variable sides, for some reason, yes. So we're going to get rid of the small one, so minus 60m, minus 60m. That goes away. You're left with 40m plus 8 equals negative 172. Let me do it over here. A variable m is multiplying by 40, add 8, gives me negative 172. 2 inverse operations I'm going to use is subtract 8 from both sides and divide both sides by 40. So let's follow that. First things first, subtract 8, subtract 8. These two go away, and this becomes negative 180. Yep, and then 40m comes down. Let me just see one thing. One second. Let's see if I have the answers to these. Decimals. Number is this? This is number 40. Oh no, are you serious? There are no answers to this? Well, divide by 40, sorry, positive 40. And that goes away. M equals 18 divided by 4 and 9 divided by 2, negative 9.2. 9 divided by 2, which is the same thing as negative 4.5. Oh, let's hope our check works. So 0.1 times negative 4.5 plus 0.008 equals 0.06 times negative 4.5 and then minus 0.172. God, I hope we're good. So let's do the left side. I'm going to do the calculator here. So 0.1 times negative 4.5, 0.1 times negative 4.5, and then plus 0.008. So the left side gave me 0.442 negative. God, I hope we have the right side. 0.06 times negative 4.5, enter, and then minus 0.172, and we get, yes, negative 0.442, and we got the same exact answer. Okay. All right. 42. Negative 0. That one plus 0.18v equals 0.25v minus 1.95. Is this the one that was giving problems for people in class? No. So, all right. I'll just move this guy a little bit over. First thing we look at all the constants and coefficients. Look at the decimal places. And every single number here has 2 decimal places, so we're good. Every single number has 2 decimal places, which means we're going to multiply both sides by 100. I don't have to change any coefficient or constant because they all have the same decimal places. I can go straight to now multiplying everybody by 100 times 100 times 100 times 100 times 100. So 100, the shortcut is just to move the decimal 2 over, so this becomes negative 32v. This is going to be 18v. And this is going to be 25v, everything a v. And this one's going to be 195, the decimal 2. All right. Okay. Step 1, distributive property. No, combine like terms, I can. I can combine these two fellas. Negative 32 and 18 should give me negative 14v equals equals 25v minus 195. There's the v. We have variables on both sides. Yes, we do. So let's get rid of the one that's smallest, and obviously the coefficient negative 14 is smaller than 25. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do plus 14v. We're going to do plus 14v on this side. Negative 14v plus 14v goes away, and we actually write 0 this time, because if we didn't, it'd be empty. 25v plus 25v plus 14v is 39v minus 195. Okay, so here's my little story. I have a letter v multiplied by 39, subtract 195 is giving me 0. So I'm going to add 195 to both sides and divide both sides by 39, and then that should give me the value of v. So let's follow my instructions. It says, please add 195 to both sides. These two go away. 0 plus 195 is 195. And then we have 39v. Step 1 done. Step 2, divide both sides by 39. Well, 39 divided by 39 is 1, or 1v. And then 195 divided by 39 is 5. So v apparently is 5. So the check. The check, we're going to go minus 0.32 times 5, right? Everywhere I see a v here, I'm going to replace it with 5. Plus 0.1818 times 5 equals 0.25 times 5 minus 195. And we use the original equation. And the reason being is because if I use an original equation, there are no mistakes. If I decided to use it over here, which is fine, but if I made a mistake here in changing, right, in anything, then my answer I wouldn't be able to really check my answer, because I'd be checking my answer in an incorrect equation. So the best way to do your check is always to check in the original equation where there's no mistakes. So let's multiply this. 0.32 times 5 is negative 1.6. Plus 0.18 times 5 is 0.9. And then that's going to give me negative 0.7 on the left side. On the right side, 0.25 times 5 is just 1.25. Minus 1.95, so think about it backwards, I guess. $1.95 minus $1.25 is 70 cents, but it has to be negative, right? And that's it. Oh, these are pretty straightforward, right? 48. Oh, so the two already. 48. Nice. 48 has a little bit of everything. Strip. Yeah, this one has a little bit of everything. Okay, so before we look at decimals and decide if we're going to multiply everything by 100 or by 10, we need to get rid of these parentheses. So, unfortunately, I have to do a little bit work. So, 0.3 times x is 0.3x. 0.3 times 5 is 1.5. 5 times 0.1 is 5. It's 0.5, sorry. And then 5 times 0.11 is 0.55x. Okay. Now that parentheses are gone, I can look at the equation and see which coefficient of constant has more decimal places. And there's 2 decimal places. So decimal places, right, are 2. That's the most. And because it's 2, we multiply. We're going to multiply everything by 100. Okay. So, but before we do that, let's rewrite this equation so that everybody has 2 decimal places. So 0.3, it's now 0.30. Same thing. 1.5 is now 1.50. 0.5 is 0.50, and 0.55 will stay as it is because it already has 2 decimal places. Now everybody gets multiplied by 100 times 100 times 100 times 100 times 100. Multiplying by 100 is the same thing as moving the decimal over 2 spaces to the right, so this becomes 30x. This is going to be 150. This is going to be 50, and this is going to be 55x. Oops. 55x. Now we go and do what we've been doing. Step 1, distributive property. No. Step 2, combine like terms. No. Can't combine anything on the left. Can't combine anything on the right. Step 3, is there variables on both sides? Yes. Get rid of the small one. So we're going to get rid of 30x by doing minus 30x. That goes away. 150 comes down. Equals 50, and 55 minus 30 is 25x. Little guide for me. My variable is x. I'm thinking of a number called x is being multiplied by 25, and then I add 50 to it, and it's going to give me 150. So what's the value of x that makes that true? Well, to find that out, we're going to do minus 50 on both sides, and then we're going to divide both sides by 25. Okay. Minus 50, minus 50. That goes away. We're left with 100 on the left equals 25x. Divide by 25, divide by 25, and x equals 4. So apparently, that's the answer. Let's see if it's correct. So I'm going to go back to the original equation. And everywhere you see an x, you replace it with 4. So 0.3, 4 plus 5 equals 5. 0.1 plus 0.11 times 4. So 4 plus 5 is 9, right, inside the parentheses. And then 9 times 3, 0.3, is going to be 2.7, right? And then on the right side, what do we have here? We have 0.44, so let's see, 0.11 times 4, 0.44, plus 0.1, which is 0.54, and then we're going to multiply that by 5, and guess what? All that equals to 2.7. Feel. Yes, we're good. Okay. Yeah, week 2, you guys get the system of equations. Gonna love that. 2.3y equals 0.15. 2y minus 3 minus 0.6. Okay, like the previous problem, we gotta get rid of the parentheses before we start looking at the equation in terms of decimals and what we're gonna be multiplying both sides by. So here we go. 2.3y, that stays, nothing to do. Distributive property happens here. 0.6 does not participate. So 0.15 times 2 is 0.30 y, and then 0.15, well, first of all, it's a positive times a negative, so it's a negative, right? And that gives me 0.45 minus 0.6. Did I forget anything? No. All right, now we could combine like terms, okay? You can combine it now, you can combine it later. I'm going to leave it for later. I'm going to look at the decimal places of all my numbers, and the most has that 2 decimal places, which means we're going to multiply everybody by 100 to change them into nice whole numbers, nice integers. So let's make that change first. So 2.3, well, first of all, before we even multiply, let's make everybody have 2 decimal places. So this becomes 2.31. This is already 2 decimal places over, so that's good. This one is also 2 decimal places, but the 0.6 needs a little help, just a 0 at the end. We can now multiply everybody by 100 times 100 times 100 times 100 times 100. Multiplying by 100 means move the decimal 2 over, so this becomes 230y. This becomes 30y. This becomes 45. And this becomes 60. Now we can combine like terms. Well, first of all, distributive property, no. Combine like terms, yes. So, combine like terms happens here. Negative 45 minus 60 is negative 105. After that, we check to see if there's variables on both sides, and you know there is. So we're going to get rid of the 30 because that's a smaller one. So we do minus 30y, minus 30y. That goes away, becomes 0. Sorry, I don't need to write this 0. I'm going to bring 105 down, negative. And 230 divided 30 minus 30y is 200y. Okay, so my answer now becomes, let's see, I'm going to divide both sides by 200. And y equals negative 105 over 200, which we can simplify. Let's see what we can simplify that to. And divide by 5. Right, so 105, let me just give me a second, 105, 200, I'm going to simplify that, 21 over 40, is it even worth it for me? Alright, so you can simplify to 21 over 40, negative, or you can even change it to a decimal, it becomes 0.525. Now I have to check and pray that it's correct. I think the prayer comes first. So, because everything is decimal, I'm going to choose a decimal value here. 2.3, and instead of that, we're going to write negative 0.525 equals 0.15. 2 times negative, 2 times, I don't need that. 2 times negative 0.525 minus 3 minus 0.6. Jeez. Alright, so let's see. 2.3 times 0.525. On the left side, I got this ugly number. On the right side, first of all, I have to do negative 0.525 minus 3. Enter. No, I don't. Sorry. I made that wrong. It's 2 times negative 0.525. And then I'm going to do minus 3. And then I'm going to times it by 0.15. Enter. And then minus 0.6. This one's a tough one to check. But guess what? We're good. So let me go back here. So when we divide both sides by 200, right? 200 divided by 200 leaves me with y. And on the other side, you're going to say, I don't know what to do here, maybe. You get y equals negative 105 over 200. Well, I simplify that to negative 21 over 40, but I'm not going to substitute negative 2140 over here where the y is, right? So in your calculator, you can press, well, you can just divide. So take your calculator and divide negative 21 divided by 40, right? And you're going to get negative 0.525. Okay? All right. That wasn't that bad. Okay. That's it.